Okay, before we get into the video, I just need to show you something. I've kind of lost the plot with this one. So, as you can see, this is a concept and a topic of video that comes extremely easy to me, and I could have, this video that you're about to watch could have been about 10 hours long. But basically what this video is it's showing the greatest lyrics that I've ever come across and just diving deep into them, seeing what really makes a good lyric, what separates good from great. And these are taken from some of the greatest artists of all time, in my humble opinion. And in sharing this, I just want to show how many different ways and methods there are to writing great lyrics. And just showing that it's not all about heartbreak and songs like, oh, I loved her and she left me, oh no. There's so many different topics, a broad spectrum that you can cover. And to be fair, I've never really seen anything like this on YouTube, so maybe this is my niche. Maybe I'm going to find a little avenue here. So yeah, I'm just sharing this so hopefully you can gain some insights into how great lyrics, great stories are told in songs, and how you can apply this to your own writing of songs and writing of lyrics. So yeah, that's it. Please enjoy the video. What is it that separates mere good lyrics to absolutely timeless and classic lyrics? It's really hard to say, but I hope in this video, and by exploring some of these great lyrics by some of the best artists of all time, maybe we can find out maybe just a bit of what makes these lyrics so great and how we can use this ourselves and apply it to our own songs and lyric writing. So, the first one that I'd like to talk about, the first lyric, and I'm going to be bringing up some album covers as we go through this video, is from Jimi Hendrix's If 6 Was 9. The lyric is, I'm gonna fly my freak flag high. And then Jimi Hendrix goes on to say, wow! And I've always just had this deep resonance with this lyric. I've always felt like a bit of an outsider myself. I'm sure a lot of us do. And this lyric just encapsulates it just perfectly. Fly your freak flag high. And what he's done there is the alliteration of fly, freak, and flag really just works to punch it home. But I mean, it's all about the metaphor, really. And he goes on to just rip a nice guitar solo as well, which always helps add the depth of meaning. But fly your freak flag high. Amazing. Just, maybe you can apply this to your own life. Think about it in terms of your songwriting. Maybe you can use these metaphors, a bit of alliteration, the same letter repeated. But yeah, I've just always loved that lyric, so I'm happy to share it. The next one is from Bob Marley, and I've got a couple from Bob Marley, but it's from Bob Marley's Concrete Jungle. The lyric is, no chains around my feet, but I'm not free. It's an incredible lyric, and it just goes to show the kind of mental slavery that we're all in, and this will tie into the next one, but society kind of has these chains around us, but they're, it's not physical chains around our feet, but we know we're not free to the extent that we should be. It's just a deeply resounding lyric again, so powerful and poignant. Bob Marley was an incredible lyric writer, and the next one I'd like to talk about is probably his most famous lyric, one of the most famous lyrics of all time. You can't see the album cover, but I promise this is Uprising by Bob Marley. You might be able to see at the top there with the Doors scored out. But yeah, it's from Redemption Song, could have guessed it. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. That is so good. That's like any spiritual teacher, the Dalai Lama, Buddha. That's like what the Buddha would say to you or something. None but ourselves can free our minds. I love that. And it basically just encapsulates all spirituality and what it all boils down to at the end of the day. The power is within, it's not some higher power, like, and you know, it's fair enough, but I think that in Christianity God is within us and whatever. I'm not a Christian, but I think that's what it boils down to, especially with, you know, Buddhism, Hinduism. The power is within. The Shakti flows up through the chakra system. Very cool. And I don't think Bob Marley was on that, but probably the Christian part. But yeah, a bit of a tangent there, but a beautiful lyric. Beautiful. It's just incredible. Bob Marley was amazing. The next one is from one of my favourite reggae albums of all time, and it's less well known than it should be. But this is an incredible album. Third World's 96 Degrees in the Shade. And from the title track, 96 Degrees in the Shade, we've got the lyric, "You caught me on the loose, fighting to be free. Now you show me a noose on the cotton tree. Entertainment for you, martyrdom for me." And it just goes to show the struggle and the plight of the slave trade in America, and how brutal the conditions were. The title track is 96 Degrees in the Shade, real hot in the shade. And it just goes to show the insufferable conditions that the poor, you know, the slaves who were stolen from Africa and brought to work must have been going through. Is really just tough to hear. And this song is so poignant and you know, it's just incredible. A great listen if you haven't heard this album or that song. The next one is a lot of Beatles, and as you get to know this channel more and more, you'll see that I'm a bit of a Beatles fanatic. But here we go. So we've got Revolver, the best album ever recorded. It just is, okay? Rubber Soul's close, and I know that's another Beatles album, but come on, it doesn't get better than this. So, Taxman, if you try to sit, I'll tax your seat. If you get too cold, I'll tax the heat. If you take a walk, I'll tax your feet. And it just shows the ruthlessness of taxation and just capitalist greed and greed in general. It doesn't have to be the tax man, you know. But I think the juxtaposition and just the brutality of, if you take a walk, I'll tax your feet, mate. You know what I mean? I'll tax the ground you walk on. Everything that you do is, you gotta kick a bit of change to me, mate. You know what I mean? That is just brutal. And it just shows the depth of capitalist greed. Such a great song. So next one is Dr. Robert, and the lyric is, "My friend works for the National Health, Dr. Robert. You'll pay money just to see yourself with Dr. Robert." And I just love like the air of sarcasm and the hint of just like, oh, you snooty bastard, you're paying for a top doctor, you know what I mean? It should be the same for everyone, whatever. But I've always loved that lyric. The next one from Rubber Soul, the second greatest album of all time. Revolver's first, this is second, okay? There's no debate. And it's from the song In My Life. There are places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed. Some forever, not for better. Sorry, I'll try not to sing it. Some have gone. Wow, I was actually trying not to sing it there. I'll start again. There are places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed. Some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places had their moments. With lovers and friends, I still can recall. Some are dead, some are living. In my life, I've loved them all. And this is just a ode to life, really. Just nostalgia to the max. And looking back with a sense of gratitude and longing, I guess, on the good days. And what a beautiful song. And the fact that I was struggling there to not sing the lyrics shows the beauty of Beatles lyrics, how the melodies intertwined into the lyrics themselves. You can hardly read the sentence without singing it and without thinking of the melody. It's insane how good the Beatles were. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But I mean, they are kind of considered the best band ever. So, and sorry for the camera going in and out of focus. I can see it's kind of getting a bit dodgy, but I'm just going to power through. So next song is from Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The third greatest. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I mean, debatable. So it's from within you and without you. Okay. So trying to realize it's all within yourself. No one else can make you change. And to see you're really only very small, and life flows on within you and without you. I love that. And it goes to show just I don't know, we seem to put so much significance on our lives and everything, but at the end of the day, we're a small microcosm in the terms of the universe. We're basically a speck of dust. As Carl Sagan put it, a pale blue dot. And the first part of the lyric, try to realize it's all within yourself. Again, we're coming back to the kind of religious and spiritual sense of the powers within you. You know, we create all our own problems, and we all have the power to change it for ourselves. No one else can make you change. Beautiful, man. And I really like George Harrison's lyrics. They always seem to pop out for me, like Taxman and Within You, Without You. And a lot of his solo stuff I really like. But yeah, that's a good one. So now back to Revolver again, because it's such a good album. So we've got the last song, the beautiful kaleidoscopic Tomorrow Never Knows. And the lyric is, lay down all thoughts, surrender to the void. It is shining, that you may see the meaning of within. It is being, that love is all, and love is everyone. It is knowing, that ignorance and hate may mourn the dead. It is believing. And the repetition of, the second part of each lyric it just drives it home so much. The meaning of within, it is being. And again, obviously I'm probably a bit biased towards the spiritual lyrics in the Beatles, but yeah, lay down all thoughts, surrender to the void. I love that. It's beautiful. Just amazing. Yeah, so that's probably my favourite John Lennon lyric, is Tomorrow Never Knows, and such a beautiful song. Just the crazy backward strings and everything going on. So the final one from this album, I swear I'll put it away, okay, I'm sorry, is Eleanor Rigby. And it's just the part where it's like, died in the church and was buried along with her name. Nobody came. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. It's just brutal. This was pretty early, Paul was probably one of the first people to write in such a dark manner. And the song itself's just about loneliness and, a girl who's never noticed and whatever. And Father Mackenzie just going about his work, and it's just another day, And Eleanor Rigby's been buried along with her name. Nobody came. Fucking brutal. So next up is the Rolling Stones. We love the Stones as well. The Beatles are great, but so Beatles best band of all time, Rolling Stones second best band. I'm putting a lot of very powerful statements out here, but I think they're true. But it gives you an insight into my music taste. So just literally, you can't always get what you want. Just that. And it's repeated that many times that it really does sink in throughout the whole song. But there's something to it that it gets repeated so many times, but it's still so powerful every time it comes up. And you're like, yeah, you can't always get what you want. Everyone's experienced that. Everyone kind of has desires and whatever, but it gets to that point where you realize you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. You just might find that you get what you need. Things come into your life, sometimes unannounced, and you find that it's exactly what you needed. It wasn't what you wanted, but it's what you needed. Very powerful. The Stones, also masters of lyric writing. The Beatles and the Stones really just changed the game in the 60s and 70s. So next is Sympathy for the Devil from this album, Beggar's Banquet. And just the entire of Sympathy for the Devil. What a great idea to write a song from the devil's perspective. And not only to do that, but to write it in sympathy for the devil of all the miscreant deeds he's had to do. You know what I mean? And just everything that gets covered in this album on that song, and in the lyrics is just so powerful. It's so meaningful, you know. It's all the dastardly things that have happened and throughout history, but putting it in the first person perspective of the devil is just an incredible, just mind blowing idea, and it's one of those that I just don't think can be replicated. It's such a good lyric and song idea that I honestly, it would be tough to beat that. It really would be tough to beat that. And the Rolling Stones did such a good idea justice, and because the song is that good. So next, and man, I could have picked so many songs, but this is why I need to like do this video idea again, because I could do this for days, honestly, days, months. But yeah, Dark Side of the Moon and the song Time. Tired of lying in the sunshine, staying home to watch the rain. Just the juxtaposition of that is so good. You are young and life is long, and there's time to kill today. But then one day you find 10 years have gone behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun. And it just puts so many great images in your head, especially the juxtaposition at the start. And then it really, you get to put yourself in the shoes of someone else, or, you know, maybe this is you, but from my young perspective, you know, and to be fair, I've done this, you know, you look back on the past and you're like, God, what was I doing? It just wasted the time away, you know. I could have been doing so much more. 5 years has gone by, and what have I got to show for it? You know, fucked up mental health. I mean, that was me after my drug escapades, you know what I mean? Thankfully, I'm all past that now, but no one told me when to run. I missed the starting gun, but I've heard it now, and I'm running. So, yeah, very cool. Next is Supertramp, and again, you know, you could have used the entire of Crime of the Century, but I just want to go on Logical Song, and this is one of the ones that's kind of like Sympathy for the Devil. It's such a good idea. It's like an Albert Camus novel, you know, it's like The Stranger or something like that. Just a masterpiece. It goes from just this young person, I don't know who they are, but and they're so full of optimism, ambition, and just joy for life, and then, you know, they get pulled into the world of sense and sensibility. They get told to act proper, be nice, sit up straight, you know. And the lyric I've got for this part is, but then they sent me away, teach me how to be sensible, logical, oh, responsible, practical. And just the bouncing back of the lyric and how it flows off the tongue is just amazing. Then they showed me a world where I could be so dependable, oh clinical, oh intellectual, cynical. And it's just amazing, eh? Just the short amount of time where you get so much progression. And then the chorus, you know, it's just one of the best choruses of all time. And then it gets to that final point on the outro, who I am, who I am. So the guy, the character now, he just wants someone to show him who he is. He's completely lost touch with reality, and he's having this existential crisis, you know what I mean? What a great song, man. It's just the from birth to death kind of thing, I guess. From, you know, death of the ego, in a way. Beautiful song. So, and yeah, the rhyming scheme is just phenomenal. It really just, it just bounces, man. It's so good, so mobile. Next one, and I'm gonna do a full breakdown of basically every single song on this album, and just break down why it's like the Bible, but for music. Honestly, there's so much in here. There's a reason it's called Songs in the Key of Life. Also, best title for an album ever. I just like reminded myself of that. Songs in the Key of Life, mate. Like, and you know, it is just one of the best ever. It really is. The lyric I've got is from If It's Magic. It holds the key to everything throughout the universe. It fills you up without a bite and quenches every thirst. Love. It's just love, man. This is what the Beatles were talking about, and this is what Stevie Wonder's talking about in this song. Again, it's coming back to spirituality, but it fills you up without bite and quenches every thirst. The poetry of that, the beautiful prose, it's really just stunning. It's stunning. For someone who was blind as well, to write with such beauty and magnificence for life that's a lesson for us all. The blind man he saw life in a more beautiful way than a lot of us ever can and ever will. And created some of the most beautiful music ever. So, and like I'm saying, any song off that album you could pick, trust, you'll find something in there. So, next is The Doors. And I just want to, just the lyric that I loved, and it always just bounced out to me. I'm sure it's the same for you, but the last song on this album, The End, is just a masterpiece in dark, brooding, he creates this just gothic kind of landscape, and it's really just like looming, and it's like an enemy, you know what I mean? The song is it's beautiful, man. But the lyric I want to share is, Father, yes son, I want to kill you. And then it goes, Mother, I want to come on baby. That just opened the doors, and yes, very bad pun, but it opened the doors for darkness in music. And I know there was some before, but come on, no one did it like Jim. No one did it like Jim Morrison. He was the dark poet. Just, he's like the vampire of rock. You know what I mean? It's like this gothic guy. And then you've got like Nick Cave and stuff later, and other people. So yeah, The Doors. And again, could pick pretty much anything off of that album. But now let's get into who I think is the greatest songwriter ever, lyric writer ever. And I've got the webpage open for Blowing in the Wind, and I just want to read Blowing in the Wind, and skip this part if you want. But I just think it's so good. Like, how many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? It's just the masculine struggle. How long until I'm just accepted and respected? What else have I got to do? I'm sure every man can resonate with that. How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? And this is like, how long have I got to work before I get to rest? When does it end? When can I just relax? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? And this is just humanity just doomed to repeat its awful mistakes. World War One and then World War Two. And then how many wars before that? We're doomed to just repeat our same stupid mistakes over and over. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Just listen to life, man. It's all there. We create all these fucking problems. Just listen to the wind. Yes, and how many years must a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? Just puts a beautiful image in your head, doesn't it? And again, it kind of touches on impermanence and stuff like that. How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? And we've all experienced this, It's like, when is that day coming? When it's just, where is nirvana? You know what I mean? When do you get there? And the answer, in my opinion, is you don't. You have to create meaning from your struggles, and that is the meaning of life, is to choose your own struggles and to strive for them, Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? Again, this is like us just being doomed to repeat our mistakes. And this happens so often, You might see, and I've been guilty of this, You see some scuffle or some domestic thing, a man and wife arguing, the man's getting a bit physical. You should be the person who goes over, It doesn't matter. How long are you going to keep turning your head until you start taking action, How long are you going to see these injustices go on for until you do something about it? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? And again, this is us just clouding our own judgment, clouding our own perception of reality with all this stupid bullshit. We just make all our own fucking problems, you know? None of it's there. How long until you see the sky? It's tough, and I'm the same. Like, I'd struggle with this, and this is why Bob Dylan and this song in particular is so poignant, so powerful, because everyone deals with this. Everything that gets covered in this is humanity's problem. This is the human condition that Bob Dylan's talking about. Phenomenal. How many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? Wow. The image I got in my head there was of the Holocaust, you know. How many ears do you have to have until you hear the 6 million Jews, you know, the injustices that went on? And, you know, there's so many other examples, but that's just what popped into my head there. How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? I think he's talking about the man upstairs there. How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? Again, it's just like, I've got World War II in my head there, and I'm actually feeling a bit emotional right now. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Wow. And yeah, I wasn't expecting to go on like that, but just amazing. And there's so many great songs on that album. It's not just Blowing in the Wind, but that's the one that means the most to me, I'd say, lyric-wise. Don't Think Twice, It's Alright is also just phenomenal. That entire song is just like a love letter to love, essentially. And when you know, I've got a lyric written down here for it, so I'll just skip to that. So, I gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. Don't think twice, it's alright. You know? It's like, don't look back in anger. How, like what Oasis say, it's just like, don't think twice. It's alright. You just got to put it in the past sometimes. It's truly tragic. You know, one person's gone on and the other person's still clinging to it. So long, honey babe. Where I'm bound, I can't tell. Goodbye's too good a word, babe. So I just say, fare thee well. Just amazing. It just rolls off the tongue so well. And again, it's the same concepts as before. But as you see, a lot of this stuff, it's so deep, it's so meaningful. This is where we need to write lyrics from as songwriters and, you know, lyric writers, of course. And if you're a story writer, whatever, all this stuff will help, you know. You've got to get to the deep root, the real tough thing that you don't want to write on that page, but you know is in there. That's what you need to write. That's exactly what you should write. Is when it hurts to write, when it's like massive resistance to even get it onto the page. Those are where the good lyrics are from, that I've found anyway. And I've not written many good lyrics, but that's just my take on what we've been doing so far. This is what I think most of these great songwriters, I'm sure you agree. Next is the beautiful storytelling of the hurricane, and you know, it's a true story. And it turned out that the guy was actually not innocent, as Bob Dylan thought he was. So the song kind of lost a bit of its meaning, but still, just the power of the storytelling, and it puts images in your head so vividly and so clear. Amazing. You could do a whole year's worth of study on Bob Dylan, you'd just be scratching the surface. So, and the last one I want to talk about is Tangled Up in Blue. Again, it's just beautiful craftsmanship of a story. And also the nostalgia, the longing for home, and the ethereal, dreamlike quality of Shelter from the Storm. That was close, I nearly forgot. But yeah, like I said, Bob Dylan, wow. And I think I've recorded a little segment before this video, and I just want to say again, like I'm looking at this now and it's just I've got so many more that I could talk about. So if you liked this video, please let me know. I'm happy to do a lot more of these. Please let me do more of these. I hope people like it, because this is a topic I'm very fond of, as you can tell. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you thought that the lyrics were also profound. And I think this can help anyone who's struggling to write lyrics. Maybe just come up with something, just see where the source really lies, and maybe inspire them to look at lyrics in the way that I'm doing in this video, you know, take their own deep look into lyrics. And as always, if you'd like to join a like-minded community of musicians and people on the path of self-development, please join the link below, the Discord, and I'll see you there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.